amigos, feliz viernes. Hoy es viernes, yo soy Rory, estoy contento de estar aquí contigo. Hoy estamos hablando sobre las tablas de crecimiento, so growth charts in Spanish. Now these are kind of tricky conversations in any language, helping people understand tendencies, percentiles, that sort of thing. Not worried about any one specific point, but over time, focusing on the overtime tendencies and projections. So anyway, we're going to work on a little bit of useful vocabulary, a handful of maybe common descriptions, common phrases that you might find yourself in some patient education scenarios with. So let's start with vocabulario útil. So vocabulario general, so just in general vocab, la tabla de crecimiento, the growth chart. Peso, weight, peso por edad, so weight like for their age or by age. Estatura, height, estatura por edad, so height for their age. Percentile. Marcar o trazar los puntos en la tabla. So when you make those dots on the chart, you're marcando, and as you draw that line, you're kind of trazando los puntos. You're kind of tracing them out. Líneas en la tabla, the lines on the chart. Tendencia de crecimiento, so the tendency of growth. Crecimiento is growth, so la tendencia de crecimiento. ¿Qué más? And talking about resultados, giving some results. Más alto que, higher than. Más bajo que, lower than. Pesa más que, weighs more than. Pesa menos que, weighs less than. And so here, más alto que, más bajo que, this is referring to estatura, their height, right? Pesa más que, pesa menos que, weighs more than, weighs less than. Otro vocabulario importante, cambios en, changes in. Debajo de, under. Encima de, over. So like debajo de la línea, below this line. Encima de la línea, above the line. IMC, índice de masa corporal. This is BMI, so body mass index. Indicar, indicates. Rango is a range, so any kind of rango. Ser consistente, to be consistent. To be consistent. Variar, varies, to vary. Okay? So we've got some basic vocabulario aquí. Por ejemplo, you might say something like, la tendencia de crecimiento es consistente. So the growth tendency is consistent, por ejemplo. O la tendencia de crecimiento varía. So her growth tendency is changing or varies. Okay, frases y explicaciones comunes. So some common explanations. Un percentil de 50. So what does it mean to be in the 50th percentile? De un grupo de 100 niños de la misma edad, so in a group of 100 kids of the same age, el peso, so the weight, or la altura, the height, de su niño es por encima de 50, is above 50 of those children. Y por debajo de 50, and below 50, okay? So, un percentil de 50. Un percentil de 80, what does that mean? Significa que 80 de 100 niños, so 80 out of 100 kids, pesan menos que, weigh less than, or son más bajos que, are shorter than, su hijo. Y 20 pesan más, weigh more, and 20 weigh more, or son más altos. Okay? Un percentil alto significa que la mayoría de los niños son más bajos or pesan menos que su hijo. So if you're in a high percentile, that means that the majority of kids are shorter or weigh less than your child, depending on what we're talking about, right? Un percentil bajo. Un percentil bajo significa que la mayoría de los niños son más altos. So this means that most kids are taller. O pesan más, or weigh more, que su hijo, than your child. Okay, let's continue. No nos importan mucho las medidas específicas. So the specific measurements don't matter so much to us, or los puntos individuales don't matter to us so much. Okay? So no nos importan mucho. Doesn't matter a lot, the specific points or the specific measurements. No se preocupe por ninguna medida específica. Don't worry about any particular or specific measurement or any punto específico. Okay? Esta tabla nos enseña la tendencia de su crecimiento. This chart shows us the tendency of your child's growth. Con tal que la tendencia sigue en el mismo rango, so provided that the tendency stays within a similar range, no hay preocupación. There's no concern. Su hijo está creciendo bien. Your child is growing fine, growing well. Si notamos un cambio grande, if we notice a big change en la tendencia de crecimiento, in your growth tendency, nos puede indicar un problema de dieta, alimentación, crecimiento, etc. So if we notice a big change in the growth tendency, it could indicate to us a problem with diet, food choices, alimentación, or crecimiento, or growth. Hey, are you learning something new right now? If you are, please do us a favor. It helps us a ton. If you like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share the video, comment on the video. All these things help YouTube primarily understand that this is important content, good content, and allows other people to find us easier. So if you're learning something new today, please do us a favor. Like, subscribe, share, comment. All those things are great for us and helps us get in front of more people, which ends up helping more communities through language. So thank you. All right, let's get back to it. Algunas preguntas, some questions. Para los niños. So as you're in the visit and charting out growth things and talking to children about foods and things like that. ¿Cuál es tu comida favorita? What's your favorite food? ¿Te gustan las verduras? Do you like vegetables? ¿Cuál es tu favorita? What's your favorite? ¿Juegas deportes? Do you play sports? ¿Cómo se llama tu equipo? What's your team's name? ¿Qué posición juegas? What position do you play? Notice that all of these verbs here are in the to form, and that's relevant and perfect because we're talking to children, right? Now let's ask some questions to the parents. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta sobre el crecimiento de su hijo o hija? Do you have any questions about your child's growth? ¿Algo le preocupa sobre el crecimiento de su hijo? Is anything concerning you about your child's growth? Okay, let's look at some examples here. Here we've got a chart. It's a little bit hard to see the numbers, but I'll share them with you. So here we have with height and weight, es una niña, so we've got a child. And so for most of this girl's growth chart, she has been in the roughly 50 percentile. And then in the previous visit, she was like, 27 or so, and now she's closer to 25 or somewhere in there. So she's getting closer to 25% now. It's beginning to change a little bit. And in her height, she has been roughly at the 25 percentile, 25, 25, 25, and now she's dropping into the more like 15 and 5%, 4% area. So she is beginning to taper off. Now, I don't know exactly what that means. You do as a clinician, but that's her tendency here. So here's a few things that we could say about this growth chart. La altura, the height de su hija, está en percentil 27 hoy. So your child's height's at 27 percentile today. La tendencia de su altura ha sido en más o menos 50. So the tendency for her height has been more or less 50th percentile, but now she's at 27. El peso de su hija está en percentil 4 hoy. So she's in 4th percentile today. En la última visita, in the last visit, ella estaba en percentil 16. So she was in 16 previously. Hasta los 10 años, up until like 10 years old, estaba en percentil 25. She was in 25th percentile. Okay? So that gets the conversation started. And you, with your clinical skills, kid, continue the conversation. I'm not able to. All right, ejemplo número dos. Let's look at another example. Another lady, another gal. And before we start looking at some specifics, let's take a look at what we see here in the growth chart. So we see that we're right around 50 percentile early on for height, and now we're dropping down to 35 or 25, and 35, and here's one that's real low. Okay, all right, so height is kind of moving a little bit, but what's happening with weight? Weight was at 50, and now we're bumping up here to like plus 70, 70-ish percentile area, and now now we've really taken off closer to like in the mid to high 90s percentile as far as weight goes. So what could we say about this patient? How could we describe this growth with padres? La altura de su hija está en el percentil 25 hoy. So your child's height today is in the 25th percentile. La tendencia de su altura ha variado entre 55 percentil. So it has varied between 50 and 5, okay? Between 5th percentile and 50th percentile over the years. So she's really varied in her height. How about weight? El peso de su hija está en el percentil 94 hoy, 94th percentile today. Hace 2 años, 2 years ago, ella estaba en percentil 75. So she was in the 75th percentile 2 years ago. Okay, and so again, that's what's happening, and you may draw on some of the other previous questions for parents and things like that. Algo le preocupa sobre el crecimiento de su hija, that kind of thing. Okay, amigos, that's what I've got for you today. Preguntas, if you've got questions, please post them in the comment section below. We would love to answer those questions for you. And apart from that, liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. Muchas gracias. Gracias por aprender español conmigo hoy. Juntos mejoramos comunidades. Together we truly are improving communities. Para más español, head over to the website, commongroundinternational.com. And para tomar un examen de español médico, if you'd like to take a medical Spanish terminology test, head over here to Certified Spanish, create your free account, and you can take as many free medical Spanish terminology tests as you would like. Okay, amigos, hasta la próxima vez. Ciao.